In the aftermath of the Ryder Cup last year, Team Europe simply had to put their head down and take their beating. The US were on a record 19-9 at Whistling Straits. Everything was just so rosy for the US team. There was no Live Tour, Bryson and Brooks were getting along just fine, and Scottie Scheffler was a wildcard pick who took down the world number one, Jon Rahm. Due to COVID, the US fans were the only ones who could gain access to the tournament, and the US young guns beat the brains out of the Europeans. They even had McIlroy in tears. Poor Rick Harrington. Fast forward 1 year and everything has changed. The Live Tour and their defectees have really hurt both teams. Europe loses its captain and some of its legendary sons, and the Americans lose some of its most talented present and future stars. The US team are faced with travelling to Europe, and some of the Europeans are just hitting form. The PGA season of 2023 is technically just about to start, and the Ryder Cup is a huge talking point this year. As mentioned, Live has really hurt both teams, but which side is odds on? The American Ryder Cup team dominated Europe over 3 days last September. They came out emphatic champions, winning 19-9. The only hope Europe had that week was if the Americans crumbled from within, as they have done before. US captain Steve Stricker made sure that didn't happen with excellent man management skills. The young bunch came out and did their job brilliantly. Last time, 8 of the 12-man squad for the Americans were under the age of 30. It looked like the Americans would dominate this tournament for the next 20 years. However, this time it just doesn't look like the same amount of American talent has come through the ranks. Live has arguably affected the American team worse than the Europeans. From last year's winning team, the Americans have lost DeChambeau, Mickelson, Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson. Patrick Reed was extremely close to getting in the team too. Matt Wolff would have been a shoo-in for this year's team. And we have a sneaky suspicion that Patrick Cantlay will become a Live player in the not too distant future. None of these players will be eligible to play in the Ryder Cup. This is a disaster for the Americans. Now they still have an outstanding team, a core 5 of Scheffler, Spieth, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele and Sam Burns sounds excellent, but does that 5 beat Rahm, Matt Fitz, Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland and Shane Lowry? We just can't call it. For the Americans you can add in Morikawa, Cantlay and Max Homa. Some others will surely be up and coming by next year too. The thing with the Americans though is that they usually beat themselves before the Europeans have to. Classically, Mickelson and Woods could never play together at the Ryder Cup and were usually beaten by a far inferior European team. Jordan Spieth has been forced to buddy up with Patrick Reed in previous tournaments because nobody wanted to play with him. Bryson and Brooks spent 2020 at war with each other. It is a huge job getting the Americans team to just play nicely together. They don't seem to take the Ryder Cup as serious as the Europeans do. Zach Johnson, as US captain, will have a lot to do this time around. The Europeans. I think the European team wins. Despite having less players in the world's top 10 and despite the beating in 2020, which will be in all of their minds, despite the Live absentees and the drama around the captain, Europe takes back the Ryder Cup in 2023. But how? As mentioned, each team has a core 5 players. These will be expected to play every match and hopefully score most of the points. I simply think Rory, Jon Rahm, Matt Fitz, Victor Hovland and Shane Lowry beat any core 5 the US team can put out. I think McIlroy beats anyone on his day. He chased down Scheffler at the FedEx Cup and he outplayed both Justin Thomas and Tony Finau in Canada earlier this year. He did lose out to Cam Smith in the Open, but we don't have to worry so much about the Australian. I think Matt Fitz will zone into his opponents and just outwork them on the day. I think Jon Rahm will stand on next to score points for Europe. Victor Hovland is a world beater on his day, and so is Shane Lowry. Lowry may not technically deserve this core 5 status, but I think it's fair. And if not, Tommy Fleetwood can easily slot in there, or France's Victor Perez. Seamus Power and Aaron Rai have been playing very well in America this year. Tyrrell Hatton is fiery, and he can score points. The Hogarth twins play brilliantly on their day, and so does Thomas Pieters. Italy's Francesco Molinari will be absolutely desperate to play a home Ryder Cup too. I think Europe has the team to do it. The reason it has the team to do it is kinda down to Live Golf. I think for a little too long, Westwood, Garcia, Casey and Ian Poulter have been given this legendary status pass. They have played Ryder Cup successfully for Europe, but just can't compete at the same level now. They were brought onto the teams in the hope that they could rouse the team and pull off incredible golf. Unfortunately, their Live choice and decisions to completely disrespect the DP World Tour has led to a decision being made in which they will not get to play Ryder Cup. It's a good thing. There will be harmony among the players and new talent gets its chance. The Marco Simeone course. At the time of writing, day 4 of the Italian Open is just about to begin. The DP World Tour are visiting the Ryder Cup course for the first time. I think the European players will get so much practice and opportunity to see the venue here. As it stands, McIlroy, Perez, Robert McIntyre and Matt Fitz are all in with an excellent chance for the win. The American players won't play over here, and the Europeans have it on their doorstep. They will become so familiar with this course before next September, another reason why Europe wins. You can get Europe at about 4-1 in bookmakers. This is not financial advice, but I am going to put a few fivers on Europe to win at that price. Hopefully it will all add up next September. The US are playing in the President's Cup next weekend against their international counterparts, and we'll get a good chance to see just how well they're playing as a team. Thanks a million for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.